It was the kind of town where nothing bad ever happened, until it did. On a warm September evening, Clara Avery, wife of one of Maple Falls' wealthiest men, walked out of a glittering charity gala and was never seen again. What began as whispers of a missing person soon unraveled into a chilling tale of money, betrayal, and secrets buried deep in the shadows. Tonight, we'll step inside the life of Clara Avery, the glamorous socialite who vanished without a trace. We'll follow the frantic search, the rumors that divided her small town, and the shocking evidence that pointed to more than just a disappearance. By the end of this episode, one thing will be clear: Maple Falls would never be the same. Maple Falls, Pennsylvania. A postcard-perfect town with tree-lined streets, white church steeples, and a main street that looked pulled straight out of an old Norman Rockwell painting. People here left their doors unlocked. Kids played until the streetlights flickered on. But there was one house everyone talked about, the Avery estate. Built on the highest ridge overlooking the town, the mansion was more fortress than home. Black iron gates, rolling lawns, tennis courts, and a fountain that sprayed year-round. It was the seat of Richard Avery, Maple Falls' billionaire grocery chain tycoon. To many, Richard was Maple Falls, powerful, polished, untouchable. And by his side was Clara. Clara Avery was 37, strikingly beautiful, and the epitome of small-town royalty. Always in the society pages, always perfectly dressed, always smiling. But those who knew her, really knew her, whispered about a sadness that lingered in her eyes, like a woman living a life that wasn't quite hers. On the night of September 9, 2017, Clara was radiant in a navy evening gown at the Maple Falls Country Club charity gala. The event raised millions for local schools and hospitals, and Clara was the star. Guests recalled her laughing, making speeches, clinking glasses. But at precisely 11:12 p.m., surveillance cameras caught her stepping out of the ballroom, phone in hand, her smile gone. She walked into the cool night air and into silence. By morning, she was gone. At 7:30 a.m., Clara's housekeeper, Rosa, arrived at the Avery estate. What she found unsettled her. Clara's bed hadn't been slept in. Her evening gown was missing. Her car, a black Lexus SUV, wasn't in the garage. Rosa assumed Clara had stayed with a friend after the gala, but when she checked the kitchen, she found something odd: Clara's phone charging on the counter. Rosa called Richard, who claimed he had left the gala early for a late business call in Pittsburgh. His voice was calm, almost too calm. He told Rosa not to worry. Clara had probably gone for a drive. But by noon, panic had set in. Clara never missed her morning yoga, never failed to return calls. Friends began texting, asking where she was. That afternoon, the Maple Falls Police Department received a missing persons report. The search began immediately. Detectives canvassed the country club. Witnesses described Clara as cheerful early in the night, but several noted she appeared distracted near the end. One waiter recalled seeing her step outside, phone pressed to her ear, her face tense. Another said he spotted a dark pickup truck idling near the exit. By day 2, Clara's Lexus was found abandoned at a rest stop 30 miles from Maple Falls. The driver's seat was pushed far back, as if someone much taller than Clara had been driving. Her purse was missing. The car was wiped clean. Inside the SUV's glove box, police found only one thing: a crumpled handwritten note that read, "Meet me where the river bends." The clue deepened the mystery. The disappearance rocked Maple Falls. Neighbors whispered theories over coffee and pie at the diner. Some pointed fingers at Richard, claiming his marriage was a facade. Others suggested Clara had simply run away, tired of the pressure. But soon, investigators uncovered a bombshell. Clara had been exchanging hundreds of text messages with someone saved in her phone as Detectives traced the number to Ethan Cross, a 34-year-old landscaper who had worked on the Avery estate the summer before. Ethan was rugged, charming, and came with a record: disorderly conduct, a bar fight, unpaid debts. He wasn't Maple Falls royalty. He was Maple Falls' cautionary tale. When confronted, Ethan admitted he and Clara were close. Too close. They'd been having an affair for nearly a year. But he swore he had nothing to do with her disappearance. Still, his name was suddenly on everyone's lips. And while the town debated Clara's loyalty, investigators kept circling back to Richard Avery. The billionaire husband claimed he was in Pittsburgh the night Clara vanished, but phone records placed him near Maple Falls around 11:30 p.m., just minutes after Clara was last seen leaving the gala. Day 7. Just as the case seemed to stall, a jogger found something near Blackwood Forest, 2 miles from the Avery estate. Clara's navy evening gown, torn and stained with what appeared to be blood. DNA testing confirmed the blood belonged to Clara Avery. The revelation hit Maple Falls like a thunderclap. This wasn't just a disappearance. This was something darker. Detectives doubled down, interrogating both Ethan and Richard. Ethan broke down in tears, insisting Clara had planned to leave Richard for him. Richard, meanwhile, appeared cold, emotionless, his lawyers shielding him from deeper questioning. For Clara's family, the gown was a devastating confirmation. She hadn't just vanished. Something terrible had happened. By the end of the first week, Maple Falls was transformed. Media trucks lined Main Street. Reporters camped outside the Avery estate. The once peaceful town became a circus of speculation and suspicion. Clara Avery was no longer just a missing person. She was a headline, a symbol. But the deeper police dug, the more questions emerged. Who left the note in Clara's car? Was Ethan a lovesick accomplice, or a red herring? And why did Richard Avery's timeline seem to dissolve under scrutiny? As this episode closes, one chilling truth remains. The night Clara Avery disappeared was only the beginning. Next time, we'll uncover the whispers behind closed doors, and the secrets Maple Falls never wanted exposed. Behind every grand estate are walls that hold whispers. And in Maple Falls, the whispers around the Avery mansion grew louder after Clara vanished. Her life had seemed perfect, until friends began revealing secrets that painted a very different picture. Tonight, we go behind closed doors, where love, betrayal, and power collide. In this episode, we'll step into the Avery marriage, a union built on wealth and status but shadowed by tension and control. We'll hear from friends, staff, and neighbors who noticed cracks long before Clara disappeared. And we'll uncover the hidden truths that made police question whether her disappearance was a random crime or something orchestrated from within her home. To the world, Richard and Clara Avery were Maple Falls royalty. They hosted galas, cut ribbons at hospitals, and donated millions to local schools. Their photographs hung in the town hall. But behind the polished smiles, insiders described a marriage more like a business contract than a romance. Richard Avery, at 52, was as ambitious as he was wealthy. He'd built his empire on aggressive deals and iron control. In public, he was charming. In private, he was cold. Friends recalled his habit of correcting Clara in public. A comment about her dress, a dismissal of her opinion. Clara, ever gracious, smiled through it. But her journal told another story. In the weeks before her disappearance, Clara wrote, "I feel like a bird in a gilded cage. Everything sparkles, but it's not freedom. Sometimes I wonder if Richard even sees me as a person anymore." When detectives began interviewing Clara's friends, a troubling picture emerged. One friend, Lydia, confessed that Clara had confided in her about wanting a divorce. Clara was terrified of Richard's reaction, worried he'd use his influence to ruin her life. Another whispered that Clara had shown up at her house one night in tears, saying, "I can't keep living like this. If anything happens to me, don't believe it was an accident." Neighbors also recalled strange events at the Avery estate, shouting matches late at night, lights flickering on at odd hours, and once, the sound of glass shattering. But there was one account that stunned investigators. Rosa, the housekeeper, admitted that 2 days before Clara vanished, she overheard an argument. Richard's voice was sharp, Clara's desperate. The words Rosa remembered most were Richard's chilling warning. "If you walk away from this marriage, you'll regret it." Detectives now face two prime suspects, Ethan Cross, the lover with passion and motive, and Richard Avery, the husband with power and control. They dug into Richard's alibi. He insisted he'd been in Pittsburgh on business, staying at the Fairmont Hotel. But when detectives contacted the hotel staff, they discovered inconsistencies. The clerk remembered checking him in, but not seeing him again that night. Surveillance cameras failed to place Richard in the lobby during the hours he claimed. Meanwhile, Ethan was brought back in for questioning. He admitted Clara had spoken of leaving Richard and starting over with him. They even had plans, a secret getaway fund Clara had been building. But Ethan's timeline was shaky. He claimed he was home alone the night Clara vanished, drinking and watching TV. No one could confirm it. The case was split down the middle. The deeper investigators looked, the more they found that Clara's glamorous life wasn't as golden as it appeared. Financial records revealed Clara had moved nearly $150,000 into a hidden account under her maiden name. She'd also quietly hired a divorce attorney in Philadelphia. Yet, the attorney said Clara canceled her last appointment, leaving him uneasy. Detectives also uncovered tension in Richard's empire. Whispers of financial strain, lawsuits brewing, and the possibility that Clara's divorce could damage his empire. The timing of her disappearance suddenly looked less like coincidence and more like desperation. But then came a strange discovery. Clara's bracelet, a diamond piece Richard had given her on their 10th anniversary, was found in Ethan's truck. He swore Clara left it there during a drive weeks earlier. But to police, it was damning. The town was divided. Some believed Ethan, the reckless lover, had snapped. Others believed Richard, the powerful husband, had silenced his wife before she could ruin him. 2 weeks after Clara's disappearance, detectives received a sealed envelope at the station. Inside was a single photograph. Clara, sitting at a cafe table, looking anxious. Across from her was a man in a baseball cap, face obscured. On the back of the photograph was a note. She was planning to leave them both. The photo was time-stamped just 48 hours before Clara vanished. This revelation sent shockwaves. Who was the man in the cap? Was Clara secretly planning an escape neither Richard nor Ethan knew about? And why would someone send this anonymously now? Theories spiraled. Had Clara orchestrated her own disappearance? Was there a third man in her life? Or had someone been following her, documenting her every move? For investigators, one thing became clear. Clara's life was far more complicated than anyone imagined. By the end of episode 2, the whispers in Maple Falls had grown deafening. Behind closed doors, Clara's marriage to Richard looked increasingly sinister. Her affair with Ethan painted a picture of a woman desperate for freedom. And now, a new mystery figure loomed in the shadows. A man in a baseball cap who might hold the key to everything. As the town simmered with suspicion, one truth remained. Clara Avery's disappearance wasn't just a missing persons case. It was a storm of love, lies, and power. Next time, in episode 3, The Secret Life of Clara Avery, detectives uncover journals, hidden bank accounts, and revelations that change everything we thought we knew.